Like once you really like
Yeah.
want to change your like life,
Right.
you listen,
Right.
and that's what separates you.
Mm.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Like a lot of people aren't serious about this type of stuff.
Right.
You see, like they say, more people are gonna be in hell than heaven.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know about that.
Yeah.
You don't want to be part of that hell.
Mm-mm.
So what this man just said, really listen to it.
Mm.
This man just said some facts. Don't let it like go past your ear and out the other. Like really turn your life to God is what we're really here for. Like to tell you,
Right.
like really turn your life to God because He will change it more than any physical human being can.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Infinite Charge podcast, where we believe that all it takes is one shot to charge the world. I'm your host, Malachi White, and unfortunately, my wonderful co-host, Mr. Tahir Jones, he's on the road right now, headed to a track meet out of state, so he won't be joining me today, but I have a very, very special guest. Somebody who's grown to be like a brother to me over the years, somebody who I've known for a while. And yeah, my man Rohit Banger.
Yeah,
Rohit, how you feeling today, man?
I'm feeling good. I'm very blessed to be here.
Yes, sir.
It was a great opportunity. And I always wanted to work with Malachi, you know what I mean, and this podcast because he's doing very great things, and it's honestly like a blessing to be here, to be honest, bro.
I appreciate that, brother. And just some background on Rohit. So he's in my younger brother's grade, who's 2 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And I know Rohit since he was a young buck, 6th grade.
Yeah,
I was in 8th grade. And one thing about Rohit that I always just appreciated, one thing about you, man, is you just always just had a drive that was just higher than average for kids our age. Meaning like, Rohit had a drive to put himself, like you always had a drive to put yourself in a better financial situation or to be the best that you could be in basketball or to, help the people around you. I always appreciated that. And some things that Rohit is involved in right now is actually media work. He has a media page. He's done some photo shoots for me, caught quite a few music videos. And you've only been in it for a few months and you've had a lot of impact on that.
I've been in there. I had a camera since like, I want to say maybe like a year and a half now, maybe. And I really started shooting for free at first, you know what I mean? And then like I said like maybe like 8 months ago now, like I started charging and I really went like up. And then like that's where like things started taking off. I'm like, once I started like, using the camera, I really got that passion.
That's what's up. But Rohit's endeavors and stuff is not the reason why I brought him here. That's something we could talk about a lot. But some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today is very spiritual. And, man, I'm so excited to get into this conversation. But before we really get into things, how we always do at the podcast, with this podcast, I like to, get some meditation in, 30 seconds of meditation. I'm going to open us up in prayer, and we're going to get right to it. So, let's meditate for 30 seconds. Dear God, I'm just so thankful that you have brought me and my brother Rohit here for another episode of the Infinite Charge podcast. I just want to pray for my brother Ty as he travels the road on this morning. I just want to pray that you just send your angels of protection around the bus as he travels out of state. And I just want to pray that you be with him and everything that he does. Dear God, I just want to pray that you just bless this conversation. Dear God, that you bless the end listener as well, that they can pick up something powerful from this conversation that will motivate them and inspire them and ultimately draw them closer to you. me and Rohit are just so very appreciative of the opportunity to just spread charge to other people. And I just want to pray that you could just, dear God, that the gateways of our lips, dear God, would be yours, dear God, and that the words that we speak would just be flowing directly from your spirit that you put within us. In your most precious name that I pray. Amen. All right, man. All right. So let's take this thing all the way back, man. Like, tell me. Look, like young Rohit, man. Little Rohit, like all the way back in the day. Like, what was your background like? What was your upbringing like? And yeah.
Well, I was really born in New York City. I'm in New York, Queens. I was born in Queens.
Queens in the house?
Nah, I was in apartments, and oh wait, you said Queens in the house, right?
Yeah, I said Queens. Yeah. Nah, you good? It's fine. It's fine.
And I moved. I have two older brothers, and they really grew up there. You know what I mean? Like most of their childhood.
Right.
And I moved here when I was like to Edison, maybe when I was like 3 years old. I started, just like gaining friends. Like I had friends in the neighborhood.
Right.
And then you know what I mean? Like elementary, like it was cool. Like it really was just like fun. Just like kids stuff. Just that activities with my family really. Then when I got to middle school, it's really like. When like I feel like I was like kind of very mature, like
right,
like I was a kid still, you know what I mean, but like I saw things very differently from people, like
right.
I feel like God always had that mission for me. I just never knew, but like I knew like God was just waiting for me, if that makes sense. Like for an example, like like it's sixth grade is like when people really knew me, and like I was like I got like that, like I started knowing,
making a name for yourself.
Yeah, like everybody know like Roll Butter or whatever. You know what the case is like.
We knew we knew you as that.
Nah,
I
was
never
humbly
said Roll
though.
Butter though. I never said Roll Butter. I just call my man's Rohit. But
like it'll be like people in the hallways like yo Roll Butter, like I was like it says great, and like people started like meeting me and stuff. Like I don't know, it's all that Instagram stuff, and like people were like kids and stuff. You know what I mean? And then like like everybody. I realized like in middle school, like everybody's cool, like everybody's your friend, like you all got that vibe, you know what I mean? Like everybody's having a good time, like just like if there's drama, it's that kid drama. Like that's what I really went through. Like I would just in middle school, I feel like I really had a great time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in middle school, I was really like pursuing like basketball.
Yeah.
And I was like, but like like I don't know, like I was good. Like honestly, I never had the confidence. In middle school, like I never had the confidence in basketball. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
When I was really like by myself hooping, or like how I used to hoop at the Wild, like I'll be very good. Like I'll be playing good. I'll be like,
bro. Oh my goodness, I feel you. Like honestly, I'm not to cut you off, but I know exactly what you're talking about because it just seems like growing up, I've always had that issue. Like in practice or like when I'm just kicking it, playing pickup and stuff, it's just so easy, bro. Like I'm just playing my game, but as soon as put us in the gym, right, with refs and a coach and all that, and then next thing you know, you free.
But what I also think throws that off is like, it's very true, like the people around you.
Indeed.
Like sometimes like the coach might just like not believe in you all the way.
Right.
And it's messed up, but like it's the truth.
Yeah.
They might not think you're good as that person starting. So
right.
they're not gonna put you in the game.
Exactly.
Or like you might have a teammate who's just like mad the whole game, throwing you off, your energy, your spirit, like like the vibes, like. Right. So it's like things like that. You know what I mean?
Indeed. So I have a question for you though about something that you was talking about like in sixth grade, and this is something I kind of noticed. Right. You said that you noticed that you saw things differently.
Yeah.
Right. Like expand on that a little bit.
Okay, here you go. I know the perfect example. Like, I know we're kids and stuff, but like, I just always like just stood on like business and like, no matter what, because that's what I was taught. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And like, it'll be like two people, right? And they'll like say I'm not friends with them. I'm not like, and you go talk bad about them like with somebody. You see everything going on. You probably know about it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You say I'm not friends with you, and then I go talk bad about you, but then. Say the person you told them about and stuff, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
You told me about that person. But the next day I come to school, you talking to that person, like nothing happened, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was like, I seen a lot of that going on in my life. Like, and I think that's what separated me, because I don't really like tolerate none of that stuff, you know what I mean, in my life. Like, if you say something, you got to just stand on it.
Indeed. And you know what? And that's powerful, because sooner than later, everybody's gonna step into the. Well, not everybody, but most people develop that. But when you develop that as a young age, because the thing is, it's like the more you look at it with your intuition stuff, we're gonna talk about this spiritual stuff. Like we about to get real deep in a minute.
Sure.
But the more we think about it, right? It's like this is a simulation.
Yeah.
Like this is literally just a test run. Like God has given us the opportunity to prove who we are at the end of the day before we can live our real lives. Like once we leave this plane, but this plane is a simulation. So pretty much what you're seeing is people just being a part of the simulation, and it's sad because most people don't even know that.
Yeah.
They're in a simulation, and in some ways, right, they're just like side characters in a simulation.
Yeah.
And they like to the point to where it's like, like when you notice it, people think that you're crazy.
Yeah.
And that's called intuition, meaning like, you always had that intuition.
And you know how like as a kid, I was kind of sensitive to my feelings, you know what I mean?
Right.
And sometimes I told people about themselves, but like they wasn't really hearing me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So that also taught me like, like growing up, like not everybody's gonna like listen to what you're saying, and not everybody's on the same mission as you. Indeed. Because you're trying to build character, and like if you're my friend, like I want you to come up with me. Right. But like like people like they don't really like do that. Like some people just like stick to what they know and like never change.
So 6th grade, you started to notice that you like we just expressed.
Not really 6th grade, but like 6th to 8th grade. You know what I mean? Like that
grade.
whole experience.
It started to develop your intuition.
Like, sometimes you got this friend group, then sometimes you got that friend group, then that friend group, then all of a sudden like you finally found your group that you thought was your group. You know what I mean? But yeah, then you get to high school. And you know how high school is. Everybody know how high school is, but
high school is what you make it. But at the end of the day, when you can like notice these things, the inconsistencies and just the downfall of human nature, like just around you, and the way how the social dynamics sometimes is just, it could be off-putting if you focus on it.
And if you want to know like more about my childhood, like you said, like you want me to get in depth, like the one thing that always kept me motivated and going was like I never want to see. I see my parents working. You know what I mean? Like they came all the way from India. My dad, then he came to like New York, where I was born. Then he worked hard to get us a house in New Jersey. You know what I mean? Right. And like they're kind of like older now, but like they're still working. Right. And that's why like you know what I mean. That's why like when my passion comes, like that's what I really want to do. Like I don't want to see my parents work no more. You know what I mean? Like, I want to go hard. Like that's what I want to do. Right. But it's more about like spiritual stuff now. You know what I mean? Like all that spiritual stuff. Like you know what I mean? Like.
So with that, right? And honestly, that's gonna be like the main like. That's gonna be the main draw of this episode. Like me and Rohit, we plan on doing a lot moving forward together. Like outside of this podcast stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's like explain to me your first spiritual like encounter or experience that made you want to get serious about this.
Can I like tell more of a backstory of like
explain everything. Explain everything.
Like how like from like anything I could just talk about right now. Like,
yes.
All right, so basically my friend Benji, he's like my brother, you know what I mean? Right. I say maybe in like 9th or 10th grade, like I always saw like this man was religious. Right. And I used to, like honestly, like it was bad of me, but like I didn't know any better. But I'll be like, yo, bro, like why you like this? Like why you not cursing? Like why you not like talking to that girl and doing this and that? Like you know what I mean? And he was always just like, I can't, bro. It's part of my religion. And like he's like, it's part of like me. You know what I mean? I can't. I don't want to do it. And I would be like, man, what? Like I'm just a kid. Like I'm lit. I'm all this and that. You know what I mean? And then like that's when like, but he taught me about God. Like we was on FaceTime one night and like for like hours he was just telling me about like the Bible and like like the story of like this, that, like this is gonna happen in the world, this is gonna happen. So it was really, I was very like interested. I'm like I got serious like, but I was in 10th grade or whatever, and I got very serious about. I'm like, yo, what? And that's when I started praying to God. And but this is what separates you. Everybody prays to God, right? And what's the one main thing they say? They say it's about your relationship with God.
Right.
But I feel like it is about your relationship with God, but it's how you treat the relationship.
Indeed.
I feel like everybody just thinks, like, oh, you could do whatever and God will understand. It's gonna be okay. Da da da. You know what I mean? Which is very true. Like He's gonna understand, but to a certain extent, I feel like you can't.
So let me.
I'll go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna ask you, like, and I 100% agree. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it is about the quality of your relationship with God, because it's like, why would you want to talk with somebody, right, and say that you love that person and say that you want to, like, help, like, you want to help, like, because at the end of the day, right, God puts us, like, when we do God's work and His mission, we're helping His kingdom, right?
Yeah.
And we say that in prayer, we want to do these things, but then we take 10 steps back, we go and then disrespect God.
Exactly.
And then it's like, and it kind of messes up the relationship, even though we talk to Him. So at the time, you said in 10th grade, that was when you first started praying?
Yeah, like I really started praying, and
How was the quality of your relationship with God at the time?
I'm not gonna lie, very good.
It was very good?
Like I used to work at Topgolf, right? And I remember like this one day, it might have been like the first time that you asked me. It's crazy how that just popped up in my head, right?
Wow.
I was just working, and I just felt like, I don't know, it was a different feeling in me. Like I was just so happy, like, yo, like when I'm telling you, I was so happy, bro. Like I was happy, like, bro. I'm talking about like when I was at work, like I'd work hard, you know what I mean? But like this, like, bro, I was going nuts. Like,
Wow.
I was like, yo, whatever y'all need me to do, I'm gonna do it. Like,
Right.
I'm doing it. I was just happy, yo. And then when I got home, bro, like I just remember saying, like after that night at work, me being so happy, like I remember I just got home, right, and I was just like, I really love God. Like I just kept telling myself, like I really love God. Like I just kept saying it, like,
Wow.
and I was just so like energetic. Like it was like 1 a.m., bro. I'm off work. I'm still up, bro. Like I'm like, I love God. I love God. I love God. And I feel like that's what really like, that's my first probably like feeling of God in me.
Right.
But like, like there comes like 11th grade, 12th grade. And, like I have my ups and downs if you want to talk about that too. Like
Definitely. So you started to feel like God's love, and that's a powerful feeling. Like I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I felt that before. But like, you felt like at the time, did you feel like your life was like a good reflection of like maybe like God, like purpose driven, like a purpose driven lifestyle in God, or like was it just like, you would do your dirt and then pray, what have you? Like,
I feel like He just introduced Himself to me.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Because God, the thing is, when God introduced Himself to us, like He doesn't care about, like, He cares about the fact that we're all sinners and we all make mistakes. But when He introduces Himself to you, He wants you to experience His love so that you can, you know what I mean? So you can get that feeling.
I feel like He really like introduced Himself to me, but like I wasn't really in tune. I feel like He was just letting me know I'm here.
Right. Yup.
And when you're ready, just come to me. Because like they say, like God's always at the door. You just gotta let Him in.
Right.
So that's what like. But I didn't know that. You feel me? Like as you get older, like you realize more things. You know what I mean? So 11th grade came. You know what I mean? Like I remember, honestly, that was like COVID year. I was just online and stuff. Like
Yeah, I remember that.
School, and then I was just like, I honestly was just working. I don't really think I was praying probably, but like I can't remember anything. You know what I mean? So I probably didn't have a strong relationship with God.
Like the feeling wasn't as strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like 12th grade is like, I don't even know, bro. Like I'm praying here and there now. You know what I mean? Like just here and there, and then after high school is like really like 3 months ago probably, or like 2 months ago. It's like when I really got into this, like deeply.
So talk to me. So earlier when I was introducing you, and you talked about like you just was always very driven.
Yeah.
Like I mean, my man Rohit is a hustler, man. Like he just always like you just always have ways to be better for yourself, and you're just always just on your grind, right?
I really appreciate that.
No, definitely, and I mean that. Like I wouldn't sit up here and lie and be inauthentic, but pretty much, right? Me and you have had conversations about finances, and you said that, like spiritually, since you become very spiritual, God has been showing you things about even just your drive, like what's been motivating you before, you've been getting more spiritual. Can you talk about that? Like, how has that been? Like, your relationship with God, and also like how, like, you know, trying to make a means for yourself, and like, you know, you have financial goals, bro.
Yeah. So honestly, like when you're like trying, like honestly, I don't have younger friends.
Right.
That's what like God. I feel like God very like I don't really have people I talk to that are young and like my age.
Right.
I feel like recently like God separated me. You know what I mean? Like, from everybody. And honestly, bro, like when He separated me, it's like when I kind of found myself more.
Right.
So you know what I mean? I'm young, I'm advanced or whatever, like people say.
Yeah.
But like I feel like I'm really finding myself now through God. If
Right.
that makes sense.
It does.
So I've been, you know what I mean? Like you saying like how I like get to my goals with God and stuff, right? Well, first He's teaching me lessons. You got to be a student first, I feel like. Because I felt like I thought I knew it all, you know what I mean? Like obviously I listened to people's advice and it helped me, but like it wasn't God's advice, if that makes sense.
Right.
And I used to like, you know what I mean? Like when you get money, the more money you get sometimes, the more greedy you get.
Yes. Yes.
And I always was like I was always in a rush for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what's the wave to the? How am I getting money? Money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is a good thing, but like honestly, like to a certain extent now, like you know what I mean? Like you know how I told you I got my goals, retiring my parents and stuff. Like I need money for that.
Yeah.
But honestly, like it's gonna come, and I want it all to work through God now that
Right.
I'm like advanced. You know what like I know now like can't win without God.
You can.
So basically, like I prayed, like He like made me more patient, and He took the greed out of me. Like
Right.
I was like, you know, like if my friends need money or like I'll pay for food, like that stuff doesn't matter. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like when you just always want the money. You know what I mean? And like I feel like God taught me more about the passion with it. Like you gotta have the passion if you want to do it, not just for the money.
Right.
So I feel like He taught me that too, and told me a lot of things, bro. Like, you know, like he literally showed me, like God literally showed me, like, you know what I mean? Like, think about it, bro. Remember when I told you I got that Thursday and Friday off work or whatever?
Yeah.
And guess what happened? Friday, I hit you up or whatever. We was on the phone, and you know, we met in church.
Right.
I was off that day, and look what.
And we
like,
need to, and just the nature of that. I want to talk about that.
Yeah, let's get into
experience.
that.
Definitely. So yeah, it was what was it? It was a Friday, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
And I just remember, like, so just some background. Like, I never really saw Rohit in a spiritual light, and I didn't really know some things that he was going through spiritually. But me and Ty did want to have him on a podcast to talk about business stuff, money stuff like that. And it turns out God had a different plan all along. Yeah. So I forgot. I remember I was in the church, and one day it just hit my spirit. I'm like, damn, like I'm not like for some, like my spirit, it just hit my spirit like that the episode that we were gonna do originally just wasn't sitting right with me, and with my spirit, and it was confusing because I'm like, yo, like sometimes when God dropped things on our spirit, we have to follow through with somebody afterwards, and it sometimes like it's confusing because it's like you don't know the full reason. So it's like, God, you telling me, damn, like this, like you telling me you don't want me to do this episode. Like, what am I gonna tell my mans now? Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's so funny. So I text Rohit. I was trying to call him. He was doing something, and he didn't answer. So I text him like, hey man, this episode really isn't sitting right with my spirit. So I'm not gonna waste any more of your time. Yeah. And and then he just hit me up, and I was like, at this point, I'm like, okay, like dude probably gonna be mad. Like I don't know, he probably might have some things to say. And I mean, it made sense because, like, even more of a backstory, like he's just asking me, like, because he's been wanting to be on a podcast, and I just been so busy putting stuff off and stuff. And then it turns out that I got to tell him that. So I was going on the way to Walmart, and he's texting me, and then he was like, yo, like, I forgot what you said, but pretty much we ended up speaking on the phone after that, because I was shocked when you texted me. It wasn't from a place of like, bro, like, come on, man, like, yo, like, come on, bro, wasting my like, nah. It was I want to know more about your spiritual experience. Yeah. Like what exactly happened?
I was like, what made you like think this?
Yeah, like what hit your spirit?
I was very confused. I'm like, yo, like
Yeah. So what happened was we ended up talking, and then he like, oh man, I was almost crying in the Walmart because you were explaining to me some of the things that God has delivered you from, and then also some of the things that He was starting to show you, and because see, Rohit was playing it very chill for this first few minutes of this podcast. He ain't, you know what I mean? He been saving it, but and I'm gonna let you explain, but pretty much what happened was it hit my spirit because it hit my spirit to not do the podcast originally the way that I wanted to do it before, because God is like, look, there's some more important things that I want you to focus on, like and pretty much just like it was just amazing because it's like it just you're not the only person that's around me that's getting close to God that I didn't see it coming in this way, but it was just like, man, like, yo, God really works in mysterious ways. Can I say something real quick?
Like,
definitely.
I honestly feel like, remember how I literally just said, you know how I just told you, like, God separated from, like, me from everybody else in life?
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I feel like He's bringing me people, like, closer to God, if that makes sense. Like, He's bringing me people who talk to God, like you. So that it's really, like, it's crazy how it works. Like, you can't, like, be blind to it, you know what I mean? Like, you got to really appreciate the little things He does, like, I'm not saying you're a little thing, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you're now Mal is like, I talk to this dude like almost every day now. And it's like he's actually like a big part of my life, if he knows it or not. Like the talks we have, you know what I mean? It's like, honestly, like talks are like great, you know what I mean? And like we have nights like that one night we came in here, like we was like, you know what I mean? And then we left and we were just so like felt so good, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know anybody else in my life who I really done that with. And had that connection with, which is why I'm very grateful, and like, you know what I mean, it's really a blessing, you know what I mean, to like have you,
man. That
more
means,
than you know, bro,
that means the world. And you know what, man, it just made me, bro, like some of the stuff that you were talking about, like, because pretty much Rohit was telling me, like, when he started getting closer to God, like, you know what I mean, you had to give up some things, you know what I mean, and then he started to notice that, you know, he didn't really, his friends weren't really his friends all the way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they still mess with you, don't get me wrong. But it's like when God moves in, He starts to rearrange things. And certain people, He moves people out your way too.
You know when they say, when you're in your prayer, you be like, God, remove all my enemies and people who don't have the best intentions for me of your life. You know what I mean? Like, He actually does it.
Indeed.
He really does it.
Indeed. Yup.
Do you have any experience with that?
Oh, you know what? It's crazy because God, like with me, God would do a 180 where He wouldn't move. He would. Some people I have seen Him move them, but a lot of times what God does is He allows me to make peace with my enemies, and it says in His Word, you know, I'm trying to remember how the scripture goes, but it pretty much that's the gist of it. Pretty much where you know, when you're serving God, He will make it to where your enemies will even be at peace with you, or something like that. So some people He will move out the way, and then there's some people who, like, you know, sometimes I won't even know they're my enemies, but I would just know like you know, something's off with them, and then He will reverse them. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, they're gravitating towards me, and you know what I mean, and I'm even learning from them in some way.
You know, I agree with you, because sometimes He'll take people out your life,
right?
But like your enemies, like He really like He takes the hate out your heart for them. If that makes sense. Like,
exactly.
Like I felt it.
Yeah.
Like you know, it's certain people like, you know, I don't really mess with and stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like, honestly, at this point, like if I'm really following God, like I'm not gonna be at war with anybody.
Indeed.
Just from like, you know, just for God and just for me. You know what I mean? Like like we're all on a mission. We all have a purpose. You know what I mean? And you got to really find your purpose.
Right.
If my purpose is to get over there, why would I go over there to, you know what I mean? Like hate you.
Yeah.
But we could both just go over there together.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, and the thing is, it's like the more we walk this, the more we get that understanding. But it's like not everybody's there all the way. So I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But so about your spirit, about your like your kind of like, because the thing is, when I talk to you, like you gave me the backstory on Benji, stuff like that. Benji's a cool dude. I gotta have him on the podcast at some point. But You gave me the backstory. I didn't know that you prayed from time to time back then, but pretty much when I talked to you on the phone, like there's some stuff that happened like recently, like within the last month that like, cause look, there's a difference, right, between getting close to God and experiencing His love, like getting a taste of God a little bit, and then but like still living like a certain lifestyle. But when you have an awakening, a spiritual awakening, it's almost like things really start to shift. And you had a spiritual awakening like recently.
Yeah.
Explain like how that happened, like and how things have been different in your life.
So I think the main problem was I was smoking weed, like we talked about.
Right.
And honestly, like I always wanted to like, I was smoking heavy, like, you know what I mean? Like a lot. And I used to pray when I was high. But like, your mind's all like over there. You're just like, you know what I mean? You're not in the right state of mind.
Right.
And honestly, like I used to pray to God, like I'm gonna quit one day. I promise, I'm gonna quit one day. You know what I mean? And like everybody around me, like the way I was smoking and stuff, like you know what I mean? Like I was outside with my friends, all night, whatever. And honestly, like like some people close to me said like, "Yo, I didn't even think you was gonna stop smoking till you like 40." And I was just like, man, I ain't know either, but I thought I was gonna be doing this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then like it just hit me like one day, like God really talked to me, like it was in my heart or like it was in my body to just quit.
Wow.
Like yo, like you know how like it's hard to like quit and like you like I'm gonna take it one at a time.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
2 at a time or like, bro. If you really love God, you got to really stay solid. I feel like, and that's what I said in my prayer though. I said, God, I'm gonna stay solid. I'm never gonna fold. And that's what keeps me going. That's so I give Him my word.
Right.
So that's what makes me stronger. So when I quit is when I really like I started finding myself more.
Right.
Like I'd say like God really came closer to me when I quit because He saw I'm making the step towards Him.
Wow.
So once I quit and I made that step towards Him, I started learning more, you know what I mean, about me, about God, my relationships, the people I could bring around me. And that's what happened. I quit. I'm like.
And your eyes, it's almost like, so when you quit, it's almost like God started to, like that same skill that you noticed that you had with the intuition to be able to see past certain things. Yeah. It's almost like He made that thing sharper. Like when you quit, when you gave something up. Because that's the thing, like with God, He want to see how bad do we want it, and if we're willing to actually keep our word and to follow through with what, you know what I mean, with what it is that we're saying that we're going to be able to do. And the fact that you gave that up is like God just sees just how driven you are to pursue this thing. And that's when He's like, okay, like I see that my son Rohit is ready. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's ready like for the next step because I know he's ready for the next step because he just gave up something that you might have relied on.
That's the flesh wanted.
Yeah, that's what the flesh wanted.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's and it's not easy. As I'm sure you know now, it's not easy, but at the end of the day, it's like God knows that it's not easy. And He knows that it's going to be always going to be temptation, but at the end of the day, he like when we call on Him in our times of weakness, He will provide us with the strength that we need to get past the temptation. And
it's good that you said that because I had, you know what I mean? Like I had I was like, God, I need you right now. Like I really need you right now. Like, and He really put like you think you're gonna imagine something or like, but He really just puts it like it's natural, if that makes sense. He just gives you the strength without you knowing you had it. And once you do that thing, you're like, yo, He gave me the strength without me knowing, but now I know. That's my experiences. I don't know if you had that experience.
You know what? I've had that experience, but even with me and just growing up in the church and having such a background, even with me, that's something that I could work and do better. In those moments where I'm compromised, in those moments where I'm afraid, in those moments where temptation is like high and I'm about to do something I'm not supposed to do, I rarely think to pray to God right away. And that's something I'm working on. Like, you know what I mean? Like when, like because with me, a big temptation with me growing up was just lust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Going on them sites I shouldn't be on, thinking thoughts I shouldn't be thinking, stuff like that, and like even certain actions I probably shouldn't be doing. But it all starts from a thought, right?
Yeah.
And a thought is from the flesh.
Yeah.
So the thing is, in order to override that temptation, is right away, God, give me the strength. Or I rebuke this thought. Or God, I'm not going to I cast this thought out. I'm not going to continue to think this, because if I continue to think this, I'm going to end up taking that thought and putting it into action. And then the thing is, right, it's not the sinning that separates us from God per se, because God, we serve a God a God of second chances, third chances, 1,000 chances, whatever you need. That's not the issue. The issue is the way that we, like, as humans, like when we do something bad, it throws us off of our rhythm.
Yeah.
Like, we are creatures of rhythm, meaning, like, we're creatures of habit, and habit pretty much just comes as a result of rhythm, finding your rhythm.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, once you find your rhythm with God and you get thrown off of that rhythm, it's in your head at that point that you're thrown off of your rhythm. God is the same. God ain't going to change whether you smoking weed or not. But when you throw yourself off that rhythm, you know what I mean, and fall victim to temptation, then that's when it's that much harder to hear God.
You know what you told me that stuck with me?
What's that?
Like, remember how I told you if I smoke weed again, like, I really feel like I'm gonna mess up my relationship with God?
Right.
You told me that he's not gonna be mad at you. He's gonna make you be mad at yourself.
Right.
And that really stuck with me. And I feel like that's what you're going for right now. Like, it's all about what's in your heart.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm so, like, you gotta really stand on it. Like, if you really love God and it's in your heart, why would you go back to it? That's where it's hard. That it's not easy. You know what I mean? But
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I would want people to imagine a relationship with God, like, like a family member that loves you so much that they not going. And God will discipline you sometimes, even outside of what's going on in your head. But the way God does it is like, look, His arms are just always open. Exactly. You know what I mean? And it's like imagine, right? Somebody loves you so much, and we keep doing the things that He's telling us not to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, but He's still gonna love you even when you do those things.
Can I say something though? That's just where, like, you gotta be smart enough to be like, imagine you was in front of me and you're my best friend. You could see me.
Right.
You could see me hurting you.
Right.
But, like, I feel like they don't see, like, the feeling, if you get what I'm saying.
Right.
They don't see the feeling of you being hurt because they can't see God.
Right.
So I feel like if you saw God right now, you would not be doing 99% of the things you're doing now.
That's true. That's
true. Because He's in front of you. But since He's not in front of you, He's testing your strength and your faith.
Wow. That's powerful. That's powerful. Indeed. Exactly. I feel you. And you're right. And that's the thing. We have to continue every day. We got to trust the Spirit. We got to trust it because we can't see it, right? Like the thing is with this life is we feel like the way we've been trained, the way society's training us, it's to make us just be so caught up with what we see with the physical eyes that we don't even think the spiritual exists. You know what I mean? Or if you start talking about the spiritual, some people might, like, because they, like, just everybody's raised differently. But I noticed, even in general, even if you was raised in a spiritual household, once you get out into the world, into society, and it starts to impact you, like, even you kind of get why people don't see the spiritual aspect of things, right? But God is very much real, and He's alive. Like, He's everywhere. You know what I mean? And so are the negative forces as well. The demonic spirits are everywhere as well. But at the end of the day, we just have to trust that God is with us everywhere we go. And just with that trust also comes with a responsibility. Yeah. Like, meaning he sees everything. You know what I mean? And that's not a reason to beat yourself up when you make a mistake, like I said, but just know, like, He's watching you, and he loves you so much.
I definitely agree with you. I feel like you always got to keep God in the back of your head. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? So you don't mess up as much.
Right.
But one thing, this rapper NLE Choppa, like how I don't know if you know about him. You know how he
Chopper.
used to like, all about that gang,
Yeah, yeah.
guns,
He
and
had
stuff.
an awakening too.
Yeah, but
Yup.
he said this one thing in his song that really stuck with me. He said, "Don't let them kill your spirit in this physical world."
That's deep.
It is like, think
That's
about
deep.
it. Like, your spirit is like really like you,
Right.
and your flesh is just like the world. If you think about it, like
It is.
all the things the world wants.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to smoke, but I'm not going to because my spirit tells me different.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You know what it's like? You're right. It's the thing is, and this is something I've said a few times, but when our spirit comes to earth fully grown.
Yeah.
Like our spirit is programmed to do great things.
Mm-hmm.
It's that battle with the flesh. Like honestly, our flesh needs to catch up to where our spirit is, because like the way that we was designed, like God, like pretty much in His Word, He said that, He knew our end before our beginning.
Yeah.
Meaning like your spirit is already fully grown.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's exactly what you're saying with
God
that.
is always like 15 steps ahead of us, is what he
Yes,
says.
yes. And that NLE Chopper bar, that's valid, because it's like this is a very, very much a physical world,
Yeah,
bro.
it's all temptation.
Exactly. And it's like we do these things to make our flesh feel good, but then at the same time, like it's weakening our connection with our spirit.
Yes.
So definitely. So I got a question for you, man. Like, now that God has revealed some things to you, and you're starting to like you change your lifestyle in a way, like you're starting to change your lifestyle in a way that's more conducive with your purpose and with God and stuff. What are you feeling on your spirit is next for you? Like as far as like this spiritual journey and like your endeavors and what you want to do moving forward.
Honestly, if I keep it honest, like I feel like God wants me to take little steps right now.
Right.
Like I feel like his steps for me are teaching me me things.
Right.
Like I told you about not being greedy, not being like, you know what I mean, like crazy for the money,
Right.
and like just focusing on him.
Right.
And I feel like the next steps are just like putting him more, like he's in the center of my life, but like put him like really in the center, like make the relationship stronger. And I
Right.
feel like that's my next steps. And honestly, like I feel like he wants me to like honestly like preach, like not be like a preacher, but like I want
To
to
spread the message through everything
like,
you do.
like, you know what I mean, like I want to have events of like just God.
Yeah.
There's all these like demonic things going on in the world, and like I really want people to like feel this feeling that we have. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there's people out there who don't even have a relationship with God, and it just amazes me because it's like I don't want nobody going to hell, bro.
I feel you.
Like think about like your best friend. You know what I mean? Like he might not even like have a relationship with God. Like why would I sit in this physical world, right?
Right.
And know everything about God and not tell you at end times when it counts? So you know the truth and what's really going on. Like I want to make sure everybody, like as much people I could touch,
Right.
like yo, like this is what's right, and this
Wow.
could get you farther, and it might be harder, but this is what really matters: your spirit, not this flesh.
Wow. That's deep, man. Yeah, I'm glad, man. And like I said, like I just feel like everything happened for a reason. Like there's a reason that God made it that me and you had that phone call when I was at the
Yeah.
Walmart and stuff. There's a reason you on a podcast right now. And Rohit's purpose very much falls in line with kind of like what God has me here for. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And hey, when you throw them events, you best believe I'm gonna be up there front and center. And for anybody who's listening, just know that that's coming in the near future.
Me and
like,
Mal, we're gonna do big things together.
Indeed.
I got a question for you.
What's up?
So what do you
You
feel
gonna
like?
ask me a question?
Yeah.
I love it. I know. Hey, I rarely get questions on this
Hey,
podcast.
Let's go, man. We're here now. You know what I mean?
All
So
right.
what do you feel like your next steps are with God? Like what
Oof.
what do you think he has in store for you next? In this very moment right now with everything going on.
Man, I think God is going to. Well, first of all, He's working with me on a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
I've had, unlike a lot of people, I've had people speak over my life and tell me what they see in me, like before I even had ambitions to do things, really. And so I've always had that, like like spiritual aspect to where people spoke over me, but there's things, you know what I mean? As I started to take steps towards, like mostly in high school when I really started to take strides towards, doing God's will, I realized that there's some things that I need to work on.
Yeah.
More so centered around ego, even though it may not, it may present itself sometimes where people can see like, oh, that sounds like an egotistical, but mostly it's in my mind. And the thing is, it takes me out of the spirit. So what's next is God is gonna, I feel like he's gonna really work on work. He's gonna I'm gonna do the work, but he's gonna reveal to me ways to really get that, iron that out. Because the thing is, the way God is moving, like even just the way that me and you ended up connecting like this, God is moving. So there's no time for me. Like I can't be allowing my ego to be in the way of God's work. So the next step for me is just self-development, getting that ego out of the way. Because I'll be honest with you, Rohit, I'm at a stage right now, and I'm telling this to the podcast, and this is from the spirit. This is not even egotistical.
Yeah.
Like I know that God has put me here to speak to many souls. I know that at some point this podcast is going to be in many people's ears. I know that at some point when you throw events and there's thousands of people out there and I'm speaking, there's going to be people listening, right? But at the end of the day, if ego is involved, then all of a sudden, my head is big and I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. So God is working with me right now while this podcast is getting 10 views, while you know what I mean, while things haven't really taken off the way it's supposed to.
Hey man, let me tell you this.
That's the next step.
Those are very great steps. And I feel like with me, you talk like you're really trying to work on yourself. Like
I'm trying my best.
Like when I talk to you, you're really listening. Like I realize that, and that's very good. Just don't give up, and God's really through you. But I want to really give you a lesson right now. Like you say, you got 10 views, right?
Right.
Imagine you had 10 people in front of you, and you impacted all of them.
Wow. Then that's powerful.
You would think like, man, I just did a good thing today, right?
I would.
But since you got 10 views, you don't think of it as 10 people in front of you.
Wow.
Like even if you get 50 likes on Instagram, bro, imagine this whole thing, everything in front of us will be packed out.
Right.
Imagine 50 people. It doesn't matter how many views or likes you get. It's about the people you really impact.
Right.
Because if you impact that person is going to impact that person.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's what really matters. It's not about the views and stuff. Obviously, this is your goals and stuff. But think about it. If you impact 10 people, them 10 people can impact another 10 people.
Talk to me.
You know
that's
what I mean?
Infinite charge. That's the purpose.
There you go. Infinite charge is all the message, bro. It's all through you. It's all you got to really do this, man.
Talk to me.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. That's a much needed lesson, bro.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like I said, that ego talk to you. But that's the thing. And some steps that I'm taking to kill that is to kill my flesh every day, meaning to do hard things. Like, bro, when you take a cold shower, bro, I don't know it's the most humbling experience ever. I don't know. That cold water hits your body.
Like you just it hard to breathe, right?
Yeah, like you just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you do stuff like that, when you make yourself do hard things, like for me personally, this is just my experience. It's for some reason my thoughts become cleaner. Like I just see the bigger picture for some. It's so weird. I don't know what the correlation is, but when I make myself do hard things, my self-discipline gets better. When my self-discipline gets better, my thoughts get cleaner. When my thoughts get cleaner, I can see the bigger picture, and you know what I mean. And anything else doesn't really matter as much, I should say.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, yeah.
I got a question for you too.
Got another question for me. All right, let's do it.
So infinite charge.
Right.
What's the purpose to the audience?
The purpose to the audience. So one thing I say at the beginning of every podcast is welcome to the Infinite Charge podcast, the one and only podcast where we believe that all that it takes is one shot to charge the whole world.
Yes.
Kind of like what you said.
Yeah.
Pretty
My
much.
experience. So took that one experience to really just change your whole thought or vision of things.
Right. It's like the purpose is, and from what we've learned, right, science will tell you energy can't be destroyed or created. Like, that's the truth. So, meaning, right, like, with just the way energy just multiplies it as the momentum carries it. energy don't die until the conductors stop carrying the energy or the electricity. Like they always say that somebody truly doesn't die. The day somebody dies, even after their physical body is gone, is the last day that somebody ever has something to say about that person or that person's legacy. So meaning, think about all the people that are dead that we still talk about, like Jesus Christ, or even somebody like a Kobe Bryant. He's still very much alive. His energy is very much alive because we talk about him. Like with Infinite Charge, right? The whole purpose of this podcast is to spread the energy, like, and for it to reach infinite proportions. Like some of the stuff that me and you were talking about.
That's a big message right there.
Indeed, yeah. Some of the stuff me and you were talking about, you're gonna go talk to somebody about, and then that's gonna resonate with somebody, and they're gonna find somebody that it resonates with, and it's just, bro, the cycle continues. Like infinite charge has always been a thing. It's just like there are messages that have been passed to me from people that, messages that go back thousands of years that we're still talking about. It's just that now with this podcast, I'm embracing these messages, and I just want to share it with, people who would choose to listen. And I know that just the content of the message in general is just, it's gonna, just how powerful it is, it's gonna continue. It's gonna continue. And I just want to be a conductor, the best conductor that I possibly can be of electricity in just this message.
That's a very big message.
You got another question for me, man? I like this, man.
You like it?
I like this,
you like
man.
being interviewed?
Yeah, man. I rarely get to be interviewed.
All right, man. So say like everybody wants to meet you and wants you to help them in your life. Would you make that happen? Like, what if like a couple people wanted to come see you and they need help seeking God? How would you go and help them?
First of all, I would just be all ears at first. Like, cause my thing is, and anytime I ever needed help, the people that helped me the most was the ones that would just listen to me and just hear me, hear where I am, allow me to, and people that wouldn't judge me and would just allow me to just explain to them where I am, and not necessarily why I'm there, but just where I am. So what I would do is I would let them know, like, listen, I'm all ears. You could tell me anything, whatever you say is between me and you. I'm not judging you because life is crazy, bro. Life is crazy. Like, who are we to judge another person? So that's what I would do. And to answer your question as far as would I be willing, of course, man, because I feel like this, what God has called me to do is to just make the people around me better. You know what I mean? So that's something like, bro, I would drop what I'm doing to help somebody get closer to God, or to help somebody figure something out, that if they feel like there's something that I could do to help them, bro, I'm willing to do it, bro, because that's just who God made me to be. Like, my name Malachi means messenger. So the message don't stop just because I'm busy, or the message don't stop just because just because my flesh want to judge somebody on a surface level.
Anybody watching this, this is like living proof. Like, God is through this, man. Like, God is in your heart.
Oh, it means a lot, man.
Like, you're like, the spirit is in you, bro. Like, the way you're talking right now, like, God's really using you to like impact people, bro. Like, that's really your mission.
Wow, that means a lot. I didn't know that this podcast was gonna go down that route, but hey, maybe this is gonna be
like
Infinite Charge podcast.
That's what my spirit's telling me from you. Like, that connection we got, you know what I mean? Like, bro, like, you're really like that. You said it before I said it. You're a messenger, bro, and God's working through you.
Wow,
that's what I'm feeling, bro.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. Infinite Charge podcast, special guest, Malachi. You feel me?
Yeah.
This man, hey, he just out here testing the waters. Me and Ty might have to add a third to this thing. I don't know. But we'll see. But yeah, man, I just truly appreciate you coming on the podcast, man.
I appreciate the invite and letting me come on, man.
And you definitely gonna be back on, because when God get this event thing rolling, whatever this is, however we gonna do it, oh man, everybody gonna know about it. And we're going to come on a podcast before the event. We're going to come on a podcast after the event to talk about just how successful it was, and how strongly we felt God's presence, and how many people we helped with what it is that we did.
Yeah, man.
So we're not going to let that thing die down. We're going to keep we gonna keep chipping away at that, trying to put something together for sure.
Got a message for anyone watching?
Do I have a message? I always got
After
a
this
message.
whole podcast, what is the message? Since you're a messenger.
The whole podcast is, I mean, for just my message for today is to just,
If you had to pick one sentence to describe the message right now, what would it be?
I'm taking it serious.
Out of this whole thing.
This podcast we just did. The energy never lies. Allow it to do what it was meant to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let me add some context to that based off of what you told me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like with the feeling that you get when you speak to God, right? Or the feeling that you got when you decided, I'm going to quit smoking. That's from the spirit.
Yeah.
Energy, everything, bro. This is very much a spiritual, like, bro, this is a physical world, but there's a spiritual realm that runs parallel to this world, meaning that, bro, that's where the energy is coming from. That's why it can't be destroyed or created. Things in this physical world can be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Things in this physical world can be created to a certain degree using natural resources and stuff, but in a physical realm, right?
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is there, or it's innate. It's like it's there, right? So energy is very much a spiritual thing.
Mm-hmm.
It would never lie, right? Like the thing is, we just need to harness the positive energy, the positive things, and we need to realize that there's a spirit inside of us, and we need to allow it to do what it's supposed to do. It's the flesh that keeps us from from meeting our higher self. Your higher self is your spiritual self manifested into the physical. So pretty much when I say energy never lies, allow it to do what it's supposed to do. Your spirit is never going to lie to you. Allow yourself to get to that level. Allow God to use you. You know what I mean? So that you can do what you were made to do.
Can I say something to the podcast for everybody watching?
Yes, sir.
You listen to everything this man just said, right? Everything he just said, right? It's 100% correct. And I'm going to say 95% of people watching this
Right.
aren't really taking in what you say. Like they'll watch it and scroll. But like once you really want to change your like life,
right,
you listen.
Right.
And that's what separates you. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, a lot of people aren't serious about this type of stuff.
Right.
You see, like, they say more people are going to be in hell than heaven.
Oh, yeah.
You know about that.
Yeah.
You don't want to be part of that hell. So what this man just said, really listen to it. This man just said some facts. Don't let it, like, go past your ear and out the other. Like, really turn your life to God is what we're really here for, like, to tell you.
Right.
Like, really turn your life to God, because he will change it more than any physical human being can, believe it or not.
Indeed. I appreciate that, brother.
You already
you
know,
made
man.
You made me feel better about what it is that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm like, my thing is, right, regardless of what happens in this world, I just know that my purpose is my purpose, and this is just what I have to do. Like, I'm not trying to say these things to sound fancy or to sound, it's like these are things that I'm actively trying my best to live by, and I'm actively, you know, trying to influence the people around me to do the same. And I appreciate, man, I appreciate you so much for coming on to the podcast. I appreciate you so much for doing this little mini segment interview thing with me, man, because it means a lot, man. It means a lot. It truly does.
Our connection is like there now, you know what I mean? Like,
indeed.
We're not just like people who see each other dap up and like walk away. Like, when we
it's a
see each other
spiritual
now, like we
connection.
really be talking, bro.
Yeah,
It's like,
bro.
it's amazing.
Yeah, bro. 100%. 100%. And we're going to have you back with Ties here as well. And, man, we just going to continue to do this thing. But do you have any closing thoughts, brother?
I'd say don't think this is gonna come overnight. Don't think your temptations are gonna stop in one day. And don't let your flesh ruin your spirit. And you know, like there might be people in your life who say negative things,
right,
that could really like break you.
Yeah.
Like the people closest to you. But never let it kill your spirit.
Powerful.
That's all I gotta say.
Powerful. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Infinite Charge Podcast. Be easy, stay charged, and as my wonderful co-host / brother Tahir Jones would usually say, be blessed, man.
Of course.